But bearing in mind the statements that have been coming out from Downing Street recently, we'll be beginning the programme by going to Vanessa for an update on the situation in and around Gaza.
Yeah, so sadly, the people of Gaza are still being deliberately starved, not only, of course, by Israel, but by the international community that is not stepping up to actually prevent what is happening. And I just want to show one photo of the hundreds that are flooding social media of children starving of what Western media is describing as malnutrition, as if this is some kind of unrelated syndrome, nothing to do with Israel. And what I want to show now is an interview actually with an Israeli social media channel with a member of the mercenary Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, Mossad linked, that has been collaborating with the Israeli forces occupying Gaza to target the crowds of people coming to try and secure some kind of aid for their family at the 4 distribution centers that now exist in Gaza. So let's just play this section of the interview.
And when he got there, he thanked us for the remnants and the small crumbs that he got. And he sets them down on the ground, because I was kneeling at this point, and he sets his food down. And he places his hands on my face, on the side of my face, on my cheeks, these frail, skeleton, emaciated hands, dirty. And he puts them on my face, and he kissed me. He kissed me, and he said, "Thank you," in English. "Thank you." And he collected his items, and he walked back to the group. And then he was shot at with pepper spray and tear gas and stun grenades and bullets shot at his feet and in the air. And he runs away scared. And the IDF were shooting at the crowd. So they're shooting to control the population that's along the Marag corridor. And as they're doing that, they're shooting into this crowd. And Palestinian civilians, human beings, are dropping to the ground.
Bear in mind, this guy supports Israel, and even he is unable to remain silent when he's witnessed the dehumanization of Palestinian children, women, whole families. Then what we're seeing right now is sort of a political cosmetic move by a number of countries led by France, but including Saudi Arabia, seeking support for a declaration on a 2-state solution between Israel and Palestinians. Of course, this is ridiculously late after the genocide began in earnest on October the 7th, and the 2-state solution is a completely non-viable solution, always has been. Even the 1936 commission deemed it as such. And what has it actually done? What it's done is to generate moves by the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, that have recently voted 71-13 for a non-binding motion to annex the entire West Bank. And of course, this is basically what many members of Netanyahu's administration have been talking about or calling for since the beginning of the genocide of Palestinians that began back on October the 7th, but of course began back in 1917. And then this is an interview on Hebrew TV with Ben-Gvir, who's the Minister for National Security, ironically. So let's have a look at what he's saying once France has called for the recognition of a Palestinian state.
די, נגמר, שום משא ומתן, שום איזושהי תקווה למשא ומתן, להיכנס בכל הכוח, בעצימות מלאה, מלא מלא, להתחיל, לצערי, מצליחים להם עכשיו סיוע הומניטרי, זה טעות מאוד מאוד גדולה, אבל להתחיל לכבוש שטח, אחרי שגם את התוחמת הצפונית, גם עוד שטחים, לעצר את הצעדים, מלחמה עד הסוף, יש 20,000 חמאסניקים חמושים, אני מצפה מצה"ל שיגיע אליהם, עשינו עבודה מצוינת באיראן, אפשר לעשות את זה, ועידוד הגירה.
So as always, when the West starts calling for the recognition of a Palestinian state, we actually see an increase in the ethnic cleansing and genocidal tendencies of the Israeli administration. Then we have the fake claims by Israel of allowing humanitarian aid in. This is from suppressed news, but it's all over the media and social media. 10 trucks entered the Gaza Strip today. Their contents were completely seized. This is the same number that entered during the previous 2 days. So this was the 27th of July, without any tactical truce or media hype. So basically, rather than actually allowing the humanitarian aid in, Israel is inspecting it and then turning it away. UAE has been running a propaganda campaign to show its trucks entering Gaza, but what has actually happened? If we look again on social media, multiple reports, empty trucks bearing the UAE flag enter Gaza, coinciding with Israel's announcement that it would allow aid in. The trucks were empty. UAE claimed that it was bringing equipment in. I'm not quite sure what equipment would be useful to a starving population. And then finally, let's see Keir Starmer stammer his way through a statement on recognizing Palestinian statehood. Very late again, he had pressure put on him by Macron, by the French to do so. But let's have a look at what he actually says.
In relation to the two-state solution and the recognition of Palestine, this has been long-standing Labour Party policy. It was in our manifesto. We talked about the right of the Palestinians to recognition, and we've always said that would be part of the process, and that it would be an important part of the point that we thought it would have maximum impact. It's driven today by two things. Firstly, the context in the intolerable situation in Gaza, which is getting worse by the day, but also because of the concern that the very possibility of a two-state solution is reducing, and therefore it is very important to be seen in that context as a very important contribution to what I hope will be an alleviation of the situation on the ground, because I'm acutely aware that what needs to happen urgently is that aid into Gaza at speed and at volume.
At speed and at volume, of course, we're not seeing that. And there was Keir Starmer oozing sincerity about a Palestinian state. And then finally, I want to also draw attention, although I lay the majority of the blame at the door of Western regimes that are, of course, supporting the Zionist entity. However, I'm disappointed to see that a BRICS member state leader, President Putin, had a call with Netanyahu yesterday. He discussed Syria and Iran in a phone call, but no mention of stopping the genocide against Palestinians.
Vanessa, thanks very much. A complicated picture, and there's evidently a huge amount more to come out on this. And I'm glad to say that we've got another report from you later on in the programme. But thanks very much indeed for that for now.